The reason I put all the footage into sections, like we did in the last lesson, is partly to organize it and partly so that I now have smaller, more manageable chunks to work with. The two original interviews were about 25 minutes each, but each section that we made on the timeline from it, they're about 2 to 5 minutes. Sorting out 50 minutes of video, that's pretty hard. It's too much to wrap your head around, but sorting out 2 to 5 minutes of video, that I can do. So at this point, I don't worry about making the edits look or sound too good. I just want to make sure each idea flows well into the next. I don't spend too much time even thinking about how any section might flow into the next section unless I see something that'll work. I'm just worried about the section that's in front of me right now. I want to keep it small and doable. Now this video, it's a bit easier than some because there are 2 interviews, and that means there's more footage to deal with, but it's also more options. And the edits, they tend to look better because I can cut from one person to another instead of jumping from one person's interview to another clip of that same person. That can look kind of clunky where you clearly see the edit. It's actually called a jump cut because it feels like the person just instantaneously jumps from one position to another without any transition. And often you want to avoid jump cuts. But people use them in videos all the time. Don't think too much about them, especially right now when you're just trying to figure out the flow of the video. We'll cover up a lot of the jump cuts with B-roll, and we might keep some that don't feel too unnatural. We'll talk about all that later. So here's 2 clips that make up the beginning. The interviews, they're talking about how kids might feel before they enter the Advocacy Center. This is the raw footage for this section, so it's not edited at all.
What the child goes through is that they don't know. They don't know what's going to come next. Am I going to be taken away? Is my dad going to go to jail? Am I going to ruin the family? Who's going to talk to me? Is it going to be big, scary police officers? I think it's the unknown is truly the biggest dynamic when a child comes in.
I think before a kid comes through the CAC, they're scared. They don't know what to expect. They've just had this horrific thing happen to them, and they have all of these people that want to talk to them. So coming to a place like this, I think would have to be scary up front, but we hope that once they walk through the doors that they see that there's a team of people who want to work with them and who believe them and just want to let them tell their story.
Now that's how the footage was when I first laid it down on the timeline, and it doesn't quite work, right? The ideas I need, they're all there, but those 2 sequences in that order, they don't quite flow. They don't feel connected at all. Well, that's our job now. So this section, it's the very beginning of the video, for now. I may decide later that it should move somewhere else and to change how the story plays out, but for now, it's our opening, so I'm going to look at it like the opening. So I need this section to do 2 things: to communicate to the audience that kids, they're nervous, maybe scared before they enter the building. And I also need it to start the thing off. I need an opening statement that draws the audience in. What I need, it's there on the timeline, it just doesn't flow together yet. But take a look at this version.
I think before a kid comes through the CAC, they're scared. They don't know what to expect.
They don't know. They don't know what's going to come next. Am I going to be taken away? Is my dad going to go to jail? Am I going to ruin the family?
They've just had this horrific thing happen to them, and they have all of these people that want to talk to them. So coming to a place like this, I think would have to be scary up front.
I think it's the unknown is truly the biggest dynamic when a child comes in.
But we hope that once they walk through the doors that they see that there's a team of people who want to work with them and who believe them and just want to let them tell their story.
There's not a lot that I did. Mostly I just moved things around, but the flow, it feels so much stronger now. It actually begins, right? And it feels like the 2 are talking together as they add more information about what a child might feel. Part of using 2 interviews can make it feel like a conversation if you put it together that way. Now, a trick I learned a long time ago is that as I'm doing this, I don't watch the screen. I just listen to what they're saying. A lot of times I even just look straight down at my desk. The jump cuts on the screen, they often make the story feel discombobulated and maybe unconnected because the visual jump cuts make it feel like a bunch of separate statements, which it is. So here's another edited section to show you just how odd those jump cuts can feel.
They're the ones that have the investigative authority over these cases. The CAC is more of a tool for all of these partner agencies to use to be a one-stop shop, to really be that collaborative facility.
We'll see this section again later when we talk about what to cut out, but it will actually work pretty well once there's music on it and the B-roll covers up some of those edits, but it doesn't work right now because you can see those cuts, so it feels fake and disconnected. The first edit in there, it's not too bad because it's a natural end to that part of the statement, but those next two, they're in the middle of a thought, so they feel especially rough. But that's okay. Again, other elements of B-roll, the music, they'll all smooth that out. This is what I do for every section now. I dig into it, try to figure out how it can flow from one idea to the next, and that, along with what's in the next couple lessons, gets me to my first draft.